For Upper Michigan, this is your TV6 Early News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Asplund. In the canal, a snowmobile crashes through the ice of the Portage Canal in Houghton this afternoon. A guilty plea from a Houghton man in court today on charges of escaping from a jail work camp. Eliminating judges, state legislation moving forward to reduce judges in Michigan. Where does Marquette County stand tonight? Is it a cold or the flu? You wanted to know the difference between the two. It's your Facebook story tonight. The common cough, the subject of tonight's TV6 Medical Minute.
From Weather Center 6, I'm Carl Bonak. The storm track alive and well through Canada. We'll tell you what that means for our weather in a few minutes.
I'm Mike Bedard. Coming up in sports, NMU hockey coach Walt Kyle talks about the second half of the season coming up, and we'll look back at that Sugar Bowl win by the Michigan Wolverines.
And a new art exhibit in Marquette called Good Night Analog. Your news is next on TV6.
For Upper Michigan, Steve Asplund, Carl Bonak Weather, and Mike Ludlam Sports. This is your TV6 Early News.
It was a very close call for a 29-year-old Minnesota man today in Houghton. A snowmobiler went into the ice of the Portage Canal near the bridge. Now, the man was riding on the Bill Nichols Trail, number 3 off of West Lakeshore Drive. His slid onto the ice and then crashed into the icy water. The man was able to jump off his snowmobile before it went into the canal.
Snowmobiler come up and he hit the curbing right there, and he come up, he lost control, and he come up, and it's all ice and everything right over here, and all of a sudden he jumped off the machine and let his machine go by himself instead of him falling in the lake with it.
Emergency vehicles and the Coast Guard personnel were on hand. The snowmobiler was not hurt. The sled was close to the shore, so a tow truck operator was able to pull the machine from the canal. A one-car crash in Marquette Township this afternoon took down a power pole, and one person with minor injuries was a result. The Marquette County Sheriff's Department says 64-year-old Cheryl Abbott of Ishpeming lost control of her car. The crash happened when Abbott was driving east on US 41 and attempted to turn onto Northwoods Road. Abbott hit an electric pole, knocking it down, and then continued down the road. The passenger in the car, Stuart Abbott, was treated for his injuries at the scene. The inmate who failed to return to a jail work camp and hid in his girlfriend's basement was in Houghton County Circuit Court today. 26-year-old Derek Gurna pled guilty to a second count of attempted escape from a felony jail sentence. Gurna's guilty plea was part of an agreement, and his first count of escape from a felony jail sentence was dismissed.
I went to my girlfriend's house, and I spent some time with her because, I've been locked up around the holidays. I just want to spend some time with her because she's my family, and I did not return at 5:30 like I was supposed to.
Gurna did apologize for the incident, saying he should have just waited because he only had 2 weeks of jail time left to serve. Before this incident, Gurna was behind bars for fleeing and eluding police. A sentencing date has not been set. Gurna could face a maximum of up to 2 years in prison. There may be fewer judges on the bench if state legislation working its way through Lansing is approved. State House Bill 5106 was introduced in October. It's just now seeing some progress. This bill relates to Marquette County, and the Michigan State Representative Phil Cavanaugh, who introduced the bill to the House Judiciary Committee back on October 19th. The bill seeks to eliminate judges across the state through attrition in an effort to reduce state expenses. Marquette County has 5 judges, and under this proposal could lose 1 district and 1 circuit judge. However, December 14th, the bill passed the House with an amendment.
And the amendment eliminates only the circuit judge position, but not a district judge position. So at this point, we understand that the House bill has now been sent to the Senate and is in their Judiciary Committee.
It's currently unknown when the Senate will decide on this version of the House bill, which only affects Marquette County. However, nearly every county could lose judges. Well, good news and bad news for students who receive Pell Grants from the federal government. The Appropriations Act, recently signed into law by President Obama, changes the length of time students can receive Pell Grants. The total amount a student can receive will remain unchanged. Now, this new law will impact 40% of students currently enrolled.
The main emphasis was preserving the maximum Pell Grant award. The maximum Pell Grant award is $5,550 a year. One of the main programs that was impacted was the Pell Grant itself. There was a reduction in the maximum number of credit hours from 18 semesters down to 12 semesters.
Now, should students reach the limit of their Pell Grants, they are encouraged to still file a FAFSA report in an effort to see if they still qualify for student loans or other grants that may come from the federal government. Well, the flu season is upon us, and that's got some of our Facebook viewers asking, how do you know if you've got the flu, or is it just a common cold? TV6's Nikki Davidson spoke with medical professionals and joins us now for today's Facebook Story of the Day. Nikki?
Steve, the difference between the two really comes down to the intensity of the symptoms you're experiencing. Based on those factors, it's best to either seek a medical professional as soon as possible or simply wait a few days and see if they clear up. It starts small with a cough or maybe a runny nose, but how can you tell if you're dealing with a common cold or something more serious?
Influenza carries with it the potential for greater problems, again, especially in the very young and the very old.
Doctors say you've got to take a close look at the symptoms you're developing. If you've got a high fever, dry cough, and body aches, you may have influenza. While if your symptoms are comprehensive but less intense, like a runny nose, slight cough, and a low-grade fever, you may have the common cold. What you're noticing should guide your next move to recovery.
If the symptoms are more acute and intense, we recommend that some contact with their practitioner is made.
But if you're looking for over-the-counter drugs to treat uncomfortable symptoms of the cold or flu, pharmacists say you should direct your attention to the products that are aimed at treating your most notable symptom.
Fevers, aches, chills, nasal congestion.
Some, like Facebook viewer Tracy Strong, say there are quick fixes to nip illness in the bud, writing, Airborne is like a miracle cure. Dissolve it into some H2O and drink. Works great. But professionals say you can't always be too sure.
It helps boost your immune system. It's not something that I usually suggest is going to be very effective, but it's also not something that's going to hurt you. So it's not a bad option.
It's important to remember that both the cold and the flu are equally contagious diseases. Another major difference between the two, you can avoid the flu by getting a seasonal flu shot. Steve?
Good advice. Thanks, Nikki. Here are your Facebook story options for tomorrow. First, decluttering your life. What are some good tips to get organized? Second, changing the Berry Center from NMU basketball to hockey. How is the changeover on the floor done? And third, attracting birds. What is the best way to do it in the winter? Now, you can go to our TV6 Facebook page and vote for your favorite story, and that'll be on tomorrow's TV6 Early News. Well, McDonald's in Michigan and ski areas across the state have teamed up to offer a popular and affordable introduction to the sport of skiing and snowboarding. The annual program for the past 17 years includes a beginner's lesson, ski or snowboard rental equipment, and a beginner area ski lift pass or cross-country trail pass. 23 facilities are offering the package starting today through January 31st. To take part, you must be 7 years old or older, and for more information, visit our website at uppermichigansource.com. Well, a bit warmer today to hit those slopes, and there was also some sunshine, believe it or not, for parts of the UP, Carl.
Right, that's true, including the central Upper Peninsula. Not everyone enjoyed the sunshine. Take a look at this visible satellite view, and you can see as we put things into motion that, well, there were a lot of clouds to start out this morning, especially along the Wisconsin line and in the east, and the clouds never cleared out of the east during the course of the day, but there have been breaks over the western UP. Mild, 30 at Mares Oats and Marquette, a northwest breeze. The barometer is rising. Our Portage Health Houghton Hancock weather cam. Well, you can see some clouds, but some clearing on the horizon. A quiet, mild weather pattern will last at least through the end of the work week. We'll tell you what to expect in a few minutes.
Thanks, Carl. Your TV6 Medical Minute is next. Tonight, Dr. Robert Van Houw talks about the common cough. What are some remedies for your child's cough? And then later, an Escanaba High School band member is looking for your help for a musical chance of a lifetime. That story following sports.
In today's global marketplace, technology.
Cough and cold season is upon us, and one of the most common questions we get asked is, what can we do for my child's cough? A recent study found that cough medicines that had codeine, dextromethorphan, or guaifenesin in them were no better for cough than sugar water. It seems that Grandma's old recommendation of giving honey has proven to be more effective than the cough medicines that are currently available. Also, the herb thyme has been shown to reduce coughing as well. You can make your own cough syrup at home by taking a cup of boiling water and steeping 3 tablespoons of thyme in the boiling water. Let it sit for about 20 minutes and then mix in about 1/2 cup of honey. Mix the two together and warm it up until the honey is dissolved, and then strain out the thyme. Give about a teaspoon as needed, and this is a safe way to reduce your child's cough without placing them at risk. The only caveat is that you can't give honey to a child under a year of age. This is Dr. Robert Van Hout talking on behalf of TV6 Medical Minute.
And your TV6 Medical Minute can be seen every Wednesday right here on your TV6 Early News. A new exhibit opened today at the Marquette Arts and Culture Center at the Peter White Public Library. It's called Good Night Analog, and artist Christine Granger says the work comes from her experiences and many of ours that we've shared, including the nightly sign-off of TV stations used to end the broadcast day. She hopes everyone who sees her work will take away something that can stir their own personal memories.
Collective memory, it's sort of a trigger that then unveils sort of this personal memory that's behind it.
Much of Granger's inspiration for her work came from the transition from analog to digital TV in 2009 and a short film she created called Place Between Sleep and Dreams. Granger's art will be on display at the Marquette Arts and Culture Center through the 27th. Our warmer conditions today, will they continue into the end of the week? TV6 meteorologist Carl Bonak is in next with those details. On Wall Street today, well, stocks barely budging. The Dow up 21, the Nasdaq slipping a fraction. Investors holding on to their gains today after a strong opening to the market yesterday. Now, gold prices saw a $12 increase, ending at $1,612 an ounce. And crude oil prices up 26 cents, closing at $103.22 a barrel. Let's look at today's most active issues and stocks of local interest.
Pioneer Surgical is a worldwide medical device and biologics company headquartered in Marquette, Michigan. Since its inception in 1992, the experienced development teams of Pioneer Surgical have utilized the counsel of leading surgeons worldwide. The collaboration has led to the creation of spinal, biologic, trauma, and other reconstructive orthopedic products.
Pioneer has always been in the forefront of innovation. In particular, their biologics are absolutely state-of-the-art.
Pioneer Surgical, moving forward together.
Uniform temperature pattern across the UP, upper 20s to low 30s, coldest 28 at Iron River, also at Menominee, warmest right along the shore of Lake Superior, 33 at Munising, 32 on Tanagan, it's 31 at Copper Harbor. Downstate, this temperature at Lansing, I don't know where this came from, but it's actually 34 there, 29 at the Sioux, upper 20s to the middle 30s on the west end of Lake Superior. Here's our satellite view. You can see an obvious northwesterly flow behind a trough or a front that went through earlier today. Back out to the west, it's mild. We saw the readings in the mid-30s around the Twin Cities, and then it warms up near 50 at Bismarck and also at Pierre, in the 50s at Billings, and farther to the northwest, look at this, upper 40s at Edmonton, upper 50s at Calgary. The Chinook is in full force. That's because the storm track continues through Canada. In fact, there's clouds all the way up into the Northwest Territories. One exception to the rule in North America, very cold over the west central interior of Alaska. Readings now in the mid-30s below, some spots in the mid-40s, and it's been around 50 below lately. That air will continue to refrigerate there because of a strong westerly flow all the way across the Pacific into southern Canada and then on across the Great Lakes. That keeps the cold air bottled up in Alaska and far northern Canada, at least for the time being. Warm signal tomorrow. Low pressure will be in west central Canada. We'll be right on the edge of the milder air. I think the coolest readings in the eastern UP with this bubble of high pressure, a mixture of clouds and sun, and then the next low pressure area passes to our north. Behind it, over the weekend, we should cool back a bit. Back with more in a moment.
This portion of your TV6 weather is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer.
Early tomorrow morning, coldest along the Wisconsin line, and then in the afternoon, 30s out west, near 30 over the eastern UP. Your forecast overnight. Look for partly cloudy skies. Winds will be fairly light, especially in the interior near the Wisconsin line, where temperatures will be the coldest, 20s near Lake Superior. Then for tomorrow, west to east split, highs maybe in the upper 30s or so in some parts of the western UP as south to southwest winds pick up closer to the mild air, near 30 over the east. Your TV 6-day forecast, warm again on Friday. Then we cool back over the weekend. Not as cold as this last shot, though, and a little bit of snow off of Lake Superior, but not much.
Yeah, it seems pretty mild. It's not bad.
Oh, it is mild now after that cold day yesterday.
Yeah, it sure seems a lot warmer, that's for sure.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Carl. Your sports is straight ahead, and tonight, NMU head coach Walt Kyle talks about the second half of the Wildcats hockey season, and we'll have a look back at last night's exciting Sugar Bowl finish. TV6's Mike Bedard has those highlights and more when your TV6 Early News continues.
There's not much snow in Delta County.
Everyone, the Northern Michigan Wildcats hockey team gets back on the ice this weekend for a pair of games that will actually count in the standings. Of course, the Wildcats beat the Russian Red Stars in an exhibition last Friday 3-2, but they will welcome another team from just beyond the Arctic Circle when Alaska Fairbanks comes to town Friday night. Right now, NMU is tied for 6th in the CCHA standings, 6 points ahead of the Nanooks. Head coach Walt Kyle says the first half schedule was tough, but the second half isn't any easier.
We have a real difficult schedule coming out back the second half. I think in the NCAA rankings, we had the most difficult schedule at this point in the country, and it doesn't get much easier for us. As I said, we only have 6 home games. We play at Michigan State, at Michigan, and at Miami. In the second half, those will all be extremely tough opponents, and I think that we have our work cut out for us. We just have to take it one game and one day at a time and just continue to grow and continue to get better.
Coach Kyle is correct. Right now, the RPI rankings say Northern has had the toughest schedule in the country so far this season. Face off both nights from the Berry, 7:35 p.m. Eastern. And we got you covered on the hockey Wildcats. If you head to our website, uppermichigansource.com, read how Tyler Grahn and goaltender Jared Coro were each named CCHA Player of the Month and Goaltender of the Month, respectively. To the Sugar Bowl last night, Michigan taking on Virginia Tech in a barn burner. In the second quarter, just before the half, Denard Robinson shakes a few tackles, finds Junior Hemingway, and the pass actually splits a couple defenders, and Hemingway gets in there for a 45-yard touchdown, 7-6 Michigan. They had a 10-6 lead at the half. In the second, the two hook up again. This time Robinson, no problems all day in the pocket, but check out the catch by Hemingway as he gets the control of the ball. He gets that 1 foot down in college, 17-6 Michigan. But the Hokies came back and tied it, and we went to overtime. Logan Thomas to Danny Coley, and it's ruled a touchdown on the field. Take another look as Coley brings it in with the one hand, but that tip of the football jars it loose just a little bit. They said no touchdown, so the Hokies had settled for a field goal, and Justin Meyer boots that 37-yarder to the right. So everything on the line for Michigan and Brendan Gibbons as he nails a 37-yarder for the win, 23-20. Michigan wins, and Brady Hoke gets a bowl win in his first season at the helm of the Michigan Wolverines. Well, it was another wild finish in a sporting contest between Wisconsin and Michigan State last night. Ryan Evans hit what appeared to be a game-tying shot at the last second, only to have the officials reverse the call on a video replay right after. You should take a look. He did not get the shot off in time as the Spartans walked off the court winners as their head coach Tom Izzo lamented another exciting Badgers-Spartans clash.
Well, let me see. It was a football game win. It was a couple of years of basketball. It was breaking our streak. Yeah, there were a lot of things, but it is what it is. And I thought we deserved it. We earned it with the win. I think they're a good team, and we're a good team. And, it was that kind of game. That's the way it is with these two schools right now.
This year, shooting below 40%.
And who could forget the last-second Hail Mary pass back on October 22nd, lifting the football Spartans to a win after video replay, of course. Plus, the two teams met again in the Big Ten Championship last month, which was a Wisconsin win and sent the Spartans to the Outback Bowl against Georgia, which they won in overtime. So plenty of overtimes and bowl games and basketball games, just too much excitement for me to take.
There were two clocks there. One showed they still had enough time.
Right, the scoreboard clock up on the the Jumbotrons said .2, but that's not the official time clock. It's the one on the shot clock just above the rim. So unfortunately for Badger fans, they're going to have to lament on that one a little bit.
Well, they're two evenly matched teams, that's for sure.
It was a great game, and I can't wait for the rematch in East Lansing later this year.
We'll look for that. Thanks a lot, Mike. Coming up, a young musician's dream to take a trip to South Korea, but she needs some help. We'll tell you all about it next on your TV6 Early News.
You cannot date my ex-boyfriend.
Finally tonight, she's the only musician picked from the UP to play in the Lions All-State Band. Now this talented 14-year-old is asking for help to go to South Korea with the band. Patricia Lemire of the Escanaba High School Band has been playing the clarinet for 3 or 4 years. Her dream is to travel to South Korea this June with the Lions All-State Band. However, she's seeking donations to help her reach her $4,500 goal. She's raised $300 so far and says she wants to travel and share her passion with others.
If anyone could help me, it would be awesome because I really want to go. Being able to do this with my music is wonderful. I'd actually like to make a career out of my music if I could.
To find out how you can help Patricia make it to South Korea, you can visit our website at uppermichigansource.com and click on the news story. Well, for those venturing out tonight, pretty nice evening.
Right, mild. I think the coldest readings maybe near 10 degrees over portions of the interior of the Upper Peninsula, and then it looks mild through Friday.
All right, thanks a lot, Carl. That does it for our TV6 Early News. Up next, NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams. For all of us here, have a good night. Join us online anytime, also on Twitter and Facebook.